Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I will be talking about father and son relations in Formula 1, or fathers and sons that have raced in Formula 1. Obviously there are a lot, but I will just pick a few for this video today. I will start with Mario Andretti and Michael Andretti, who are both American, or used to be American, Formula 1 drivers. And Mario Andretti was actually the Formula 1 world champion in 1978 with Lotus, and he is one of the three drivers who have won a race in Formula 1, IndyCar's World Sports Car Championship, and NASCAR. The other two are Dan Gurney and Juan Pablo Montoya. And he's being regarded as one of the best, if not the best, American motorsport racing driver in the history. And his son Michael Andretti raced in Formula 1 for only one season in 1993 with McLaren, and he scored one podium in that year in his final race, but he got to race alongside Ayrton Senna, who's regarded by many as the best Formula 1 driver that has ever existed. And now we come to the next father and son in Formula 1, but actually this time with a father and two sons. So the father on the right, Jack Brabham, and then on the left we have David Brabham, and in the middle, Gary Brabham. Jack Brabham was the most successful driver out of history. He was a world champion in 1959, 1960, and in 1966 with his own team, which started in 1963. David Brabham, his one son, raced in Formula 1 for two seasons in 1990 and 1994, and his other son, Gary Brabham, only raced for two races in Formula 1, which was in the year 1990. We come to the first world champion father and son pairing, which is Graham Hill and Damon Hill. Graham Hill was a is a two-time Formula 1 world champion, and he won the world championship in 1962 and 1968 with Lotus in 1968, and had a whole 14 career wins over his whole career. And Damon Hill was in Formula 1 from 1992 to 1999, winning the World Championship with Williams in 1996 and scoring a whole whopping 22 wins in his Formula 1 career. And nowadays, he is a Sky Sports F1 presenter in Formula 1. The next pairing might surprise many of you. We have Jan Magnussen and Kevin Magnussen. Jan Magnussen only raced for one race in 1995, which was for McLaren, and he raced in 1997 and 1998 for HSBC Stuart Ford and scored a whole 1 point. His son was more successful than him, who raced in Formula 1 from 2014 to the end of 2020 with a gap in 2015, and he started his career with McLaren, in which he scored a podium in his first race and finished his career with Haas F1 team at the end of 2020. And now on to the next father and son pairing, which is Jonathan Palmer and Julian Palmer, with Jonathan Palmer on the right, his son Julian Palmer on the left. Jonathan Palmer raced in Formula 1 from 1983 to 1989, though without scoring any podium, but he had a lot of points finishes and had more points than his son, and he is now a successful businessman also in motorsport. And his son Julian Palmer was only in Formula 1 for two seasons in 2016 and 17, scoring 1 point in 2016 and 8 in 2017, but he was dropped not really midway through 2017, but towards the end of the 2017, as Carlos Sainz made the move to Renault for that season. And now we come to a Brazilian father and son pairing, which is obviously Nelson Piquet, who is on the right, and his son Nelson Piquet Jr., who is on the left. Nelson Piquet was a Formula 1 world champion in 1981, 1983, and 1987, and he has a whole 23 race wins and 60 podiums in Formula 1. So he definitely had a great, successful Formula 1 career and was one of the best drivers. His son, though, Nelson Piquet Jr., raced in Formula 1 from 2008 and 2009. But sadly, the thing he's most known for in Formula 1 is for the Crashgate incident, which happened in Singapore 2008, where he got the call from his team boss that he should crash the car on purpose so that his teammate Fernando Alonso would have had a chance to win a race. Obviously, The team principal Flavio Briatore at that time got huge consequences for that, and there was still a topic that was talked about for a long time. But Nelson Piquet Jr. joined Formula E, and in the first year of Formula E, he was the Formula E champion in 2014-15. And now we come to the second father and son pairing that were Formula One world champions, in Nico Rosberg and Keke Rosberg. And if you missed my previous video, in which I talked about with South Bear about why Nico Rosberg is such an underrated driver, just click on the item button on the top right. But now onto his father, Keke Rosberg, who was Formula One world champion in 1982, with scoring only one win in that season. No one has ever accomplished that, only winning one race in a season but being world champion. And obviously his teammate, his son, Nico Rosberg, was Formula One world champion in 2016, has won 23 races in his career, a successful Formula One career, and is nowadays being seen as one of the best drivers that has existed in Formula One because of the 2016 season in which he beat Lewis Hamilton. But more about that on my previous video about that topic. And now we come to a quite interesting father and son pairing, to the Dutch pairing in Jos Verstappen and Max Verstappen. Jos Verstappen had a lot of races in Formula One. He raced from 1994 to 2003 with a gap in 1999 and 2002, and he scored a whole 2 podiums in his Formula One career. But nowadays you see him a lot in the paddocks with Max Verstappen. And Max Verstappen obviously is one of the biggest talents in motorsport history, the best driver in Formula One currently in my opinion. He has 10 race wins to his name. This year, 2021, will be definitely important for Max Verstappen. And if you're more interested to this topic, why 2021 will be career defining for Max Verstappen, just click on the icon button on the top right. I've made a video for that. But yeah, Max Verstappen being seen as one of the best talents that was ever in Formula One. So he should not waste that talent. But that was another father and son driver pairing. And now we come to the second last father and son pairing, which is Gilles Villeneuve, who is on the right, and Jacques Villeneuve, who is on the left. Gilles Villeneuve raced in Formula One from 1977 to 1982 and was in second place in the Formula One Championship in 1979. He was a Ferrari driver and by many is being seen as the best driver in Formula One to have not raced and to have not won a world championship. That's obviously debatable, but sadly Gilles Villeneuve died in Belgium 1982 in the qualifying session. His son Jacques Villeneuve actually has quite an interesting and remarkable story in Formula One. He raced in Formula One from 1996 to 2006 and was world champion in only his second season in Formula One in 1997. He beat Michael Schumacher that year in the final race where Michael Schumacher, people debate about it. Well, Michael Schumacher tried to deliberately hit Jacques Villeneuve to win the world championship, but Jacques Villeneuve won the world championship and he actually was IndyCar champion in 1995 before he came to Formula One. And now we come to the final father and son pairing, probably the best, the most expected one, and it is obviously Michael Schumacher and Mick Schumacher. Michael Schumacher was the most successful Formula One driver up until 2020. He has 7 world championships to his name, which is equaled with Lewis Hamilton, and he used to have the most race wins in Formula One with 91, but sadly Lewis Hamilton got that record away from him in 2020 and he has now 95 race wins. But still, Michael Schumacher, as seen by many as the best driver that ever existed in Formula One, is an idol for a huge amount of drivers. But his son, Mick Schumacher, will make his debut in Formula One in 2021. And by the time this video is coming out, he is probably currently testing his new car in pre-season testing in Bahrain, which is great for him. I love seeing the Schumacher name in Formula One, seeing him in Formula One after winning the Formula 2 championship in 2020, which was great for him, a great achievement for Mick Schumacher. And we wish him all the best for 2021. So that was it. That were the father and son pairings that has driven in Formula One. Obviously, there are still a few more, but I wanted to concentrate on the most important one, the most interesting ones, So yeah, I really, really hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, so please comment and let me know in the comments what you think. And thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Good.